another video upload from Aspie with Attitude. And if you're watching this for the first time, my name is David. I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I have autism, I have some speech difficulty, a speech impairment and a speech impairment. I have Asperger's syndrome. That's why I call myself an Aspie. And you're watching right now is episode 307. What I normally do in this channel is I always most times discuss autism. I talk about my autism quirks and how I present myself as an autistic individual, especially at a time when I was filming this video in middle of September 2023. I was 43 years old. Well, here I am, there once again, and since I've been talking a lot about autism, I've decided to kind of change the subject a little bit just for this video upload. I'll be talking about the LBGTQIA, which is just something I don't get to talk about as much these days. And just to start things off, and I'll be giving you a recap as I go along. And I'll start off with what I've explained back in episode 146, something that I've uploaded back on the 15th of November 2020, when I did a coming out video, how I came out as an asexual. Considering that, I've decided to wear the same clothes that I've actually been wearing that I came out in, and I had to wear my purple t-shirt, since that purple appeals to me as asexuality, and that's who I am. I do consider myself as part of the LBGT, which falls on the asexual spectrum. And also there was another video when I did Asexuality Explained, which was episode 227, something that I've uploaded back on the 30th of March 2022. Since I did explain in episode 146, I had a lot to learn about asexuality, and I've decided to explain more how there's actually different spectrums, and as it happens though, I still have no idea where I actually really stand once it comes to asexuality. So I'll just pretty much be under this pride flag, since I like to light up purple for asexuality. And just the way I actually feel about the LBGT these days. I can remember growing up as a teenage kid, I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, and just grew up in my teenage years that I've actually never had any female classmates at all, since it was all boys. Well, as it happens though, I did face a lot of rejection back at that school. And one thing I used to be back at school was a homophobic. I used to be just as homophobic as a West Barrow Baptist church back in those days. The reason for this is, back in those days, there was a lot of shame, particularly growing up in the 90s. We just actually never had a pride like what we do for the 2020s. Things were at different times back then. And while I was being rejected by my peers back at that school that I went to, people were asking me if I was actually gay. I didn't even feel that way. I was never ever attracted to boys, since that people did pick up that I wasn't attracted to the opposite sex. Well, definitely not ever being attracted to boys at all. Some of my same age peers in high school and my classmates did see it that way. Since it did upset me and overwhelm me that people were saying that I was gay, I did resort to homophobia just to make a point. Which wasn't such a good idea though, as I've learned that homophobia is discrimination. And even growing up in my 20s with the hip hop scene, pretty much a similar thing though. I'll just show you something though, if you're from a hip hop crowd and you follow Fubex, so that's my album there, and you can always recognise my face, and how I got the Melbourne upside down stim. Well, I had a lot of ableists call me a whatever, but however it is though, like for track number 4, I did a rap song called I'll Spit On It. I'll just actually explain I'll Spit On It. What was wrong with I'll Spit On It is there was a lot of swearing, which I'm talking about profanity, like a lot of strong words. And I haven't even listened to I'll Spit On It for years now, since I've really stepped down from rapping. And I can just bring up episode 74, something that I've even uploaded on the 7th of September 2019. So the reason why track number 4 from upcoming, the CD of mine I was showing you, it was very homophobic. Back in those days though, like, I did think that being homosexual was very shameful and everything like that. But after a while though, like, as time moved on as a rapper, pretty much since when I did the second album back in 2010, I've just realised that there wasn't anything wrong with being gay or homosexual. As it happens though, like, I never ever had the attraction to the same gender at all. Now I was just being homophobic because I was like, it was just too overwhelming trying to admit who I am is what I'm not. And I remember when I did in episode 190, something that I've uploaded on the 8th of August 2021, was that I did apologise to the LBGT community for my homophobia in the past. Yeah, it's just different times now. We're in the 2020s, so this is 2023. And my point of view has completely changed now. What I think about people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersexual, queer, and all that, it's just a spectrum. It's just like being autistic. As happens though, like, I am autistic, and what letter A has to do with the pride is asexual, which definitely puts me on that spectrum. And I'll show you this pride flag. Yeah, this one has many colours. I tend to keep looking at purple, and I just feel that the colour purple is definitely me, where I stand as an asexual, since that I am LBGT, and my homophobia was just to make a point that, like, I wasn't gay, please socially accept me, stop rejecting me, as what I cried out to all my peers in school, especially that it was a Christian Catholic school. And it does say in the King James Bible, there are verses that are very homophobic in the Bible, and which I'm not going to be preaching out for verses. Now surely, if you're Christian and you've read these verses, you know what I mean. Because I think it was Leviticus and Romans that I did read verses like that. So since that, I don't want to really put religion and politics into this video upload or on my channel at all. But anyway, that's just the way things were. And surprisingly though, like, when I was in high school, what we didn't know about the school principal was that when I was under attack by ableists and people accusing me for being gay and everything like that, I did hide in the principal's office, not realising that he was actually a Salesian. A Salesian is just like kind of like a priest for the youth, for the kids and everything like that. So like, he was just an important figure in the Australian Catholic Church throughout the 80s and the 90s as a Salesian and everything like that. It wasn't until years after I've left high school that I've actually found out that he had caused harm to about 10 or 12 different children. And I've decided to get more to the point, talking about the school principal that I had. Just to get into it, this principal was a pedophile. I can remember of the day he started as school principal in 1994. I can remember that one of his students did get hit by lightning out front of the school during a thunderstorm, which is a sign that he should never ever become a principal to this school, especially while I was there. As it happens, that school principal did cause harm to some boys, causing one to commit suicide and the other one to take up heroin and finally died from an overdose, which makes him a murderer. That's how I actually did discriminate child molesters and pedophiles, and I viewed them as rotten animals. And those people, especially those adults who cause that extent of harm to these children, well then they should not be born. They're not part of the LBGT whatsoever. I don't even see them as human beings at all, even though there might be some do-gooders would try to encourage me to change my opinions. Just like how I have my second thoughts on homosexuals, there is just no second thoughts on those adults who do that kind of harm towards children, which I'm talking about child molesters and pedophiles. And I'm just glad that he did end up in jail and being brought to justice, and I just do hope that the inmates in prison did get their way with my principal. And now, just to get back onto the LBGT subject, since I think you've heard enough about it. Being gay, being lesbian, being transgender, being asexual, and being queer, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just on one condition. If a male is gay and wants to make love with another man like a woman, as long as if one man and another man only does it with their same age peers. That is acceptable, because like this is all different. Being gay is just being on the spectrum, just like autism. And pedophilia, definitely not. It traumatises the children, and once the children falls victim to those kind of revolting actions done by any rotten animals, that child's going to be living with it for the rest of their lives. They never ever get over it, and causing that kind of harm to a child is just like murdering a child. And there's nothing else to put it that way. And those kind of actions towards children cannot be justified. And that includes animals as well. And believe me, you just heard me that I do discriminate against pedophiles, and I see them as rotten animals. Yes, so it's just coming towards the end of this video, because I didn't want to spend too long actually filming and getting on a bit of a tangent. So like, since I'm getting a bit croaky and it feels like it's a bit of a around the bush and everything like that, however it is, if you like what I do in this YouTube channel, Aspie with Attitude, please subscribe to Aspie with Attitude. That's all I ever ask for in terms of support. And also, please don't forget to ring this notification bell if you want to keep up to date with Aspie with Attitude. And also, don't forget to like and share this video content around. That way, you're showing more support from my YouTube channel, Aspie with Attitude. And this is how I pull this one off. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Aspie with Attitude. Peace and respect, and see you next time.